All right. Hello, Tom.
Hey, how are you? Do I sound different?
Yeah, you do sound a little different.
I do? Good. I got a new chair.
Is that what Is that why you were asking me?
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you I got a new chair. I'm pretty excited about it.
Oh, you asked me how you sounded?
I thought maybe I'd sound like more confident or something. I don't know.
You do.
Good, good.
Well, we've been growing apart, as the last episode pointed out, so
Well,
now you got a new chair.
yeah. It's been 3 days since we recorded. 4, maybe.
Sounds like it's been a whirlwind. Actually, since then, a friend of ours, a loyal listener to the show, our friend Aaron, wrote in
Hey, Aaron.
about a dream you had. Yeah, hello, Aaron. About a dream you had about Hillary Clinton, and she ordered you to make a pinky nail sized index card wheelbarrow, or a mini wheelbarrow made out of index cards.
Right.
And Aaron reached out to the show and wondered if we had gotten any further on what that could have been used for. So we decided to come up with just a few quick ideas. And yeah, I'll let you go first. You said you had a good one.
I do. So yeah, this dream was a little mini wheelbarrow made of
Well, let me
index
say
cards.
this. Have you had any dreams about Secretary Clinton since?
Thankfully, no.
Okay.
But don't get me started on Bill, though.
You said she was nice in the first one, though.
Well, yeah.
It's not like she was like a demon haunting your dreams. Like you were just like, oh, hello.
Well,
Oh.
if I remember correctly, we talked on the phone for about an hour and a half in the dream.
Oh, so it wasn't her in person.
No, it was on the phone.
Okay. Yeah. And it was only once. You're on hand on the Bible. This has not been a recurring thing for you.
No, it hasn't.
Okay. With Megan as your witness.
With Megan,
you have not been
as my witness.
The secretary has stayed out of your subconscious.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, so the first thing that jumped to my mind, just to get a few out of the way, you could a pinky-sized wheelbarrow made out of index cards. At first, we thought espionage, but let's be honest. I mean, anyway. So the original theory was that because you're an audio engineer by trade, it was for espionage purposes, something so tiny.
Right.
But let's say that wasn't it. You could, you know how like they put baby food into the mouse and they pretend it's a plane?
Right.
You could like pretend you're farming and pretend to dump fingernail clippings into the trash and be like, there goes that. You could pretend to be a mini farmer.
Like a full-size adult or a small human?
Yeah, just if you want to have some fun. Clipping your fingernails is never fun.
That would make the process
Again, it's a pretty
more
preposterous item to begin with, Tom. So we gotta, like, everything we know, we have to scrap that. Okay, this is like Doctor Strange level. We just got to enter this world.
Oh God!
All right, you go. What was yours?
All right, the only one that I have offhand. So Kylie, who's going to be doing the show on video games with her husband Kyle.
Ooh, nice plug.
Right? Yeah.
Nintendo, is that right? And they're like super mega pros, and they have a huge cult following on their own.
Yeah. So she does miniature Nintendo photography, which is such a niche market. It's crazy, but they make all their own miniatures. So I'm thinking it's made out of paper. What franchise of Nintendo has used paper before? Paper Mario. So you set up a little scene with a little paper wheelbarrow for Paper Mario, little miniature. Right?
Right. Pre-mushroom, because he grows when he eats those, right?
Yeah.
I'm not the gamer. Right. You I know less about games than you know about sports, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to write that down. We have to come back to that because I have a very exciting announcement.
Yeah, you wrote in bold in the show notes, sports guy. And I was like, I have no idea what this could be. Anyway, you could use it in dioramas for middle school or grade school, right? I mean, if it's in the shoebox, you're making a little scene.
True.
I don't know if you're recreating a Little House on the Prairie type thing. And it would be of similar quality, if I'm in 5th grade. I'm just picturing a very, not even that well put together paper wheelbarrow. Like, it's not an origami piece of delicate, nice folding.
Right,
it's just kind of scotch taped together. In a pinch, if it was in your pocket or something smushed, You could use it as kindling to start a fire. You could just incinerate it. Again, this is kind of the theme of dumping fingernails in the trash, but you could like kind of wheel it up to your chinchilla's cage and dump a little raisin in there. Be like, here you go, little buddy. Little buddy.
That's great.
And then my ideas kind of stopped when I was like, oh, obviously, if Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk got stuck in the Giants world, he needed to make ends meet by farming or something, because I think that's what he did before he climbed it. He could use it. But then I realized he's only tiny because the giant is giant. He's still a regular sized man up top. You know what I mean? So it would still be just, the giant would be like, what's that in your hand? It'd be like, it's an even smaller wheelbarrow that is useless to me even in this realm. So that's for you, Aaron. Again, friend of the show. That's where my ideas run out on that.
Okay.
And you haven't had the same dream since, so I think we can probably put that one to bed.
Well, I got one more just now. So maybe you are a prospector during the gold rush.
I like this already.
And you're very unsuccessful, and you only find one little piece of fool's gold powder. So you can't afford a wheelbarrow, and you don't need a big one to carry all the gold out because you don't have any. So you have this little tiny paper wheelbarrow to take out your little piece of dust.
But did you just get it from the river, though? Like, did you just sort it? Like, is it wet?
Ooh, good call. I might deteriorate the wheelbarrow.
I'm just asking. I'm just asking the questions that need to be asked, Tom.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Next time
we got to vet this thing.
Right. Well,
the secretary asked for it specifically, so we got to make sure this thing is sound.
Well, not just any secretary. It's the Secretary of State, right?
Yeah.
Crucial.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure that's clear.
Apparently, it's part of it's a foreign policy linchpin. But hey, do you want to start the show?
Sure. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I imagine that's where you'll play the ba-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. Why not?
Okay. Yeah, why not? Okay. Now, I think I threw off our rhythm.
If you want to do some quick updates on the old place, because I have some rather interesting advancements as of yesterday.
I'm here. I got my coffee. I got a little bit of water, and I will sip them quietly and gently while you tell your tale.
All right. So we had some mail come to the old place yesterday, so we went to pick it up, and the nicer older gentleman, David, who was holding it for us, he was really nice.
This is the place with the schizophrenic in the yard?
Yeah. So he was telling us some stories of what happened since we left, which has only been about
like 36 hours.
Right. Like not very long. So do you remember I told you the reason all those people were there because of this one random guy who was subletting from one of the tenants there?
Yes. Well,
I kept hearing that this dude thought he was some hot shit because he was a Lyft driver and he was making a little bit of money. He got arrested yesterday for driving drunk with people in his Lyft car, which was a rental.
The car was a rental?
The car was a rental, and he was wasted. Apparently, the people in the car called the police from inside the car.
Passengers?
Yeah.
I thought they should have performed a citizen's arrest.
Oh, that would have been awesome. I don't really know how that goes.
I've never seen one of those. Yeah, me neither. Stop in the name of love. Damn it. I ruined it already. Really like Motown.
So apparently he is going to be out of there because the ramifications of that, as explained to me,
that was the tipping point. It was too unstable at that point.
Well, I think he might be going to jail, man. I mean, that's
Wait, this is the landlord.
No. There was a man named Tony who lived there who subletted the place to this other guy like Jerry or I don't know. So he was the Lyft driver.
Right.
He's the one who brought the crazy people over.
Right.
So he's going to be out. So it seems like all the crazy people might be out as well.
Quick aside.
Sure.
Should we change our names to Tony and or Jerry just because I like the way those sound?
Yeah, Tony and Jerry. Welcome to Tony and Jerry's morning show.
Would you be? This is an important question. Would you rather be Tony or Jerry? Because I feel like Tony has to be a stereotypical Italian figure.
Tony. Well, I'm so far from Italian.
That's true. Well, yeah, okay, both of us are, I suppose.
Okay, yeah, true. Both pretty Irish. I'll be Tony.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. I'll be Jerry.
Okay.
I guess there's only one option. There's only two, so all right.
Okay, Jerry. So,
Hey, Tony. Wait, no, I would
Jerry.
be. I would be. Yeah, it's like no, like you're Tony, but Jerry is the really heavily Italian one. Like, hey, Tony, and Tony's just like, what?
Hey, what's up, boss?
Hey. I like what you did with that character. You already are growing into it so naturally.
All right, so
You talking to me, boss?
so 2 nights ago, someone went into the backyard, which was fenced but not locked, and tried to steal.
At the old place.
Yeah, at the old place, and tried to steal my roommate's bike. When he came outside, there was a tarp over the bike. It was flipped up, and everything was kind of rattled around, but the bike was locked up.
So they tried to steal.
So they tried to steal it. So there's thieves at our old place.
Are you in a bad part of town, or is this is southern Denver, south of Denver?
Right. I mean, I didn't think it was that bad. I think just this area.
Is there an obvious bad neighborhood that you can tell? I mean, you've only been there a short while, but
Well, there's a place called Aurora that's like, it seems like at the beginning stages of gentrification, but it's all.
Where is it east, west, north, or south?
That is east of Denver. It's its own area.
Is there an obvious nice part?
Almost all of Denver. Yeah. I mean, there's
all
if you
pretty
go down,
clean.
I think it's like 6th Ave by Colorado Boulevard or something. It's really nice houses. But there's like a lot of really nice areas. Someday we'll be in them. But
Right. So you're in some sort of midland.
yeah, we're just in
Middle of
some apartment buildings
a
by a
neighborhood.
Safeway.
Right on.
So the last thing I actually forgot to tell you about this last time, there was another unit of Section 8 housing. This guy was just piss drunk, and he kept coming over and talking to us. And as soon as Megan went inside to get something, this guy's like, he's like, hey, check out my shoes. So I was like looking at his shoes. I was like, yeah, man, those are some pretty dope shoes. Like they were just like normal, tennis shoes or whatever. He's like, no, come to my house. So this guy grabbed me by the arm.
Oh, they weren't on his feet.
Right. He wanted me to see his shoe collection at his house.
Of course. Or maybe just one pair.
Right. So he grabs my arm and he takes me over to his house. This guy I don't know, who's wasted and way bigger than me. And I'm thinking, I'm gonna die, like this is super sketchy.
Right. I'm surprised you didn't.
And this guy had like 4 pairs of shoes, just like really normal shoes. He's like, yeah, man, those are my shoes. And then he I kept trying to get out of his house and he kept talking. He's like, hey, my mom stole my beer.
This guy sounds like one of Tony's goons or Jerry's goons, because Jerry was actually the,
Right.
Hey, check out my shoes, Jerry. Hey, I don't give a shit about your shoes. Did you deliver the body?
And apparently he's been known to break into people's cars in the middle of the night in the neighborhood. So I'm so glad we're out of there. So glad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is ultimately good. It sounds like your well-being, or you are a safer individual now.
Yes.
And first full few nights in the new place, and you're feeling good. You sent a picture to my phone this morning of a nice cuddly scene with your pup and Lady Megan.
Yeah, it was nice. I usually the dog gets us up around 7 to go outside, and I just stay up. But we slept until about 10 to 10, and it was just nice, man.
Yeah, this is like one of our first Saturday episodes, I think.
Yeah, we were doing Fridays for a bit, then we did a random weekday. Just doing a Saturday morning thing here. I like it though.
Yeah. How's what's your coffee of choice? I gotta ask. I'm not gonna say you're a coffee snob, but you have worked you're like good at it. You're better at coffee than a normal person would be.
Well, I was totally a coffee snob. I mean, I wouldn't drink coffee unless I made it, and I would do like hand pours at home. And
what's that mean? Like
like a normal coffee machine, you just put water in and it dumps the water over it, takes care of everything.
But you would do it by hand?
Yeah, so like I had like a $200 grinder, and it grind the coffee. You put like a cone over a cup. You like boil the water to like a very specific temperature, and you like use this kettle and pour it over. And I mean, it makes good coffee. But lately, I would drink Folgers all day because I feel like if your expectations are so low, you can enjoy it more.
As a Browns fan, and yeah, low expectations can be a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Sorry.
Not even that. As someone who has enjoyed, well, we don't have to go down that road. But what I was going to say was no. What I was going to say is Adam Sandler movies, because I mean I think most people would agree that Happy Gilmore and Waterboy and Billy Madison are good.
You might even say amazing. I would.
Right? Okay, yeah, but I mean, like, people like to, like, they've been tossing some Nickelback level shade at him over the past, and probably deservedly so. Anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is low expectations, particularly with movies, I suppose, can be pleasant, right? Like, this was like nothing to watch on Netflix. I needed something. I ended up watching his latest with David Spade and his Netflix deal. He has like a 4-movie deal.
Oh, really?
It's called The No,
The Do-Over. Anyway, yeah.
And it was just all right,
Bummer.
I expected very little, and I got a few laughs. It was nothing more or nothing less.
Right.
Anyway,
right.
Just a little. I wanted to touch on low expectations for a little. I hate when people tell me that something's going to be fantastic. Like this is going to change you. There's no way it's going to live up to that hype.
Right.
The only thing that's ever lived up to that hype is Katie, my sister, who was a travel nurse for a few years, was living in New York, and I visited her, and we camped out for $40 standing room tickets to see Book of Mormon on Broadway with the original cast. So we camped out for like 6 hours in the winter.
Wow.
Oh my God. So everyone was like, "This is the best play. It's so funny," there's that quote from Jon Stewart, like, "It was so good it made me angry." In that it just delivered. But that's probably the only time anyone's really hyped something up and it's actually delivered. Anyway, low expectations. An underrated phenomenon, I might say.
I've been trying to go into things lately with exactly zero expectations. Like, pick a movie.
It's tough to do because you always, I don't know, I'm always curious
right.
before I go experience something.
Well, yeah, and you always hear something, but I try, like, there's a podcast I listen to called Hello Internet, and the host, CGP Grey, he
one of yo faves.
What's up? I love him. He talked about, they were talking about Black Mirror at the time, and he's like, "I recommend this, but I'm not going to tell you anything about it. Don't Google it. Don't even read the description on Netflix. Just watch it." And I've been trying to do that for any movie.
That's what people should start doing more.
Great.
Is just say,
it's amazing.
Just experience this thing, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Like, don't. You should, to be a good friend. That's all you should be. You know what I mean? Billing it like, if it's a trusted thing, and you're just like, "Look, I hope I've steered you right in the past. This is a thing in which I will endorse." Something like that.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah.
And did they nail it? Like, you just went in and just it hit?
Yeah. I mean, it was
what was it again?
It was Black Mirror. It was
yeah, okay.
An episode called 15 Million Merits, and they do these episodes where they'll be like, "Okay, we're going to talk about the show. If you haven't watched it, stop listening, go watch it, then come back." And I do it every time because I want to know, like, I want to experience it the way that they did.
Sure.
And I did that with Ex Machina. I had no idea what it was about. I tried to not even look at like the cover.
That one kind of
sneaks.
That one starts off like, it's just like okay, like that thing is just, it just slowly builds and builds, and then it's like, I don't want to ruin it for anybody.
I've been gravitating towards movies that are more just like dialogue driven, like very small cast. But everyone has there's a word for that where it's a small cast, but everyone is kind of the main character.
The opposite of an ensemble cast?
No, I think that's what it is. And
no, ensemble, isn't that like where they have those cheesy holiday movies and like 18 A-listers are in it, and there's like 6 storylines, and Ashton Kutcher's a flowery delivery boy. And
I think the word I was looking for was ensemble, but I think I was trying to use it the wrong way.
well, I might be wrong too, though, but you know what I mean? Like the movie Valentine's Day, and I don't know, is there the Pierce Brosnan British Christmas one? Is that an ensemble movie? I don't remember, but you know what I'm saying? Those holiday ones that are kind of big bill, many celebrities.
No, an ensemble cast is made up of cast members in which the principal actors and performers are assigned roughly equal amounts of importance and screen time in a dramatic production.
Oh, so it could be big or small. They just have a similar amount of. There's no obvious one person. There's no obvious one protagonist or anything.
Right. So yeah, I was right.
Yeah,
well,
you were.
You got the word.
I think we both were.
Good job, us.
I just assumed it was a large. Anyway, I just can't get Valentine's Day out of my head. I think of it before I go to bed every night.
Never seen it.
I'm just kidding. I don't think I've ever seen it, and I don't think Anthony Anderson's even in it.
So, you haven't seen
Moving on.
The new Gilmore Girls yet, have you?
Oh yeah, I was wondering why you had this in the show notes because I think I've never really watched it.
Okay. I watched it with.
Well, I'll ask this culturally: sure. Are guys supposed to? Are we supposed to be aware? Are we supposed to want to? Is it okay to want to? Like, what's your? I say to me in my head, it was kind of the target audience. I guess was of a female variety, but I know a lot of my guy friends are very aware, and I'm just curious. Like, what's the deal?
Well, I mean,
because everyone's talking about it. The new Netflix series, the new
right.
the reboot, not the reboot. Anyway, I mean, everyone is at least cognizant, right?
Well, my hope would be that in a modern day society, no judgment would be passed. But
of course not. If it's good, it's good, right?
But I mean, I watched it like during the original series. I was dating a girl when I was much younger who liked it, but I just saw random episodes, whatever was on like TBS. So I was unaware of any like storyline. So after we watched,
well, it's like the at a party know enough about a topic thing, right? They talk fast. Melissa McCarthy used to be in it, and you're probably good, right?
Right. But I didn't know all the like in and outs of the relationships and whatever. So
like, do you think there's been more think pieces on the internet about the election or about the new Gilmore Girls?
I've seen. So Megan and I watched it when we were still in the Airbnb, and I liked it a lot. And then I Googled to see what people were saying about it, and I was like, man, no one else liked this. Like, there's so much hate. And
I'll say I tried it, and they got like the first scene of the first. It's like seasons.
Yeah. Like
fall, spring, summer, 4 episodes. I like mini movies. And they're like, you look so good. You came off the plane. Everyone going to the stinky plane. I'm like, oh my God. No, make it stop. I just personally don't care much just because they are talking fast.
Right.
I don't know. Anyway. So my friend from college, John Nero, he used to work at the newspaper with me. He posted, those people, or he was like, we've talked about this before, though. One of those, like, I don't usually do this, but here's 5,000 words on how I feel about this. But he went off on how apparently Rory, the main character, or the daughter, is just awful, I guess. And he just unloaded and how she just, like, is bad to her mom and constantly complaining and, like, she is just super entitled based on having to go to dinner once a week to hang out with her family, right? And she, only gets into college and her first job based on the connection through her grandparents. And it's just generally an awful person. Maybe whether she can help it or not, but kind of the hot take he dumped down was that she's not... Are we alienating our listeners by kind of... I don't know. You know more about the show. I'm trying to unload some hot takes on Gilmore Girls. I've never seen a full episode.
Right. Well, here's the thing. We watched...
Is Rory awful, I guess is the question.
I mean, my interpretation was that she's just kind of down on her luck, which in the past, like in the original series, like Megan and I are actually going through and watching the whole series now because, we don't have jobs. So we blasted through 2 seasons.
You do, though. You just got one.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too.
All right, all right. Yeah, by the way, listeners, the adventure continues in Colorado. Colorful Colorado.
Colorful Colorado.
I love the signs on the state Colorado, or
awesome.
the state border. It's just like a really bland white and dark brown wood sign. Welcome to Colorful Colorado.
We almost missed it. I mean, it was so low key.
Well, not only that, but if you're coming in from the east, it's still a very plains.
Right.
It's not like the state border defines geographical points, right? So it's still Nebraskan plains heading into the eastern part of it. And then there's like the Albuquerque Plateau if you're coming up from the south. So it's a very dull, you're like, welcome to Colorful Colorado. And it's like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
That John Denver was full of shit, man.
Yeah, dude. John Denver. No, wait. Who am I thinking of? Who sings Country Roads? Take Me Home.
John Denver.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he's from Roswell. If that person's from Roswell, New Mexico.
Oh.
Super important. Anyway, Rory's awful, right?
Well, I mean, in the regional series, everything is like so perfect, kind of. I mean, they have their breakups and whatever. But everything kind of goes perfectly, and I feel like I'm at this point in my life right now where it's like, damn, is anything like gonna actually go the way I want it to? So it was like really like humanizing and comforting to be like, oh, this girl who had it all is like totally broken and like can't find a job, because I mean that's reality right now. I mean, if you have a decent job,
But didn't she go to an Ivy League school because her grandparents had connections?
Yeah. But that's what
didn't she get her first internship because of those connections?
I mean, oh God.
This was John's hot take, not mine.
Sure.
I'm just asking, like, how relatable of a character is that?
Well, I think she was in an Ivy League school because she had good grades, right? She did the right thing. She went
right, but not everybody with good grades gets in, and not everybody that's in there got good grades.
Well, I mean, you can argue that about anything, but
right.
But
I'll stop myself because I have not seen the show.
Sure.
I guess you sounded like you were getting something because we've been talking about, growing up, kind of. The vibe so far has been the lyrics to Blink-182's Damn It off Dude Ranch. I guess this is growing up, etc. We're in new cities. We're trying things. And you're saying this was a relatable... I guess you wrote it on the show notes. I should let you talk is what I'm saying. Like, what about Gilmore Girls is getting you through this past week, I guess?
Well, like, okay, so I have a bachelor's degree from the Art Institute of Washington, which is basically just a scam school. It's a for-business organization.
The district, not the state in the Pacific Northwest, right?
Right. So my degree, when we moved, I found it 3 years later, never opened my diploma or whatever it is, I ripped it up and took a slow motion video of me throwing it in the air because that's what it's been good for. I mean, the school's a joke. So I'm having a hard time finding a job where the only requirement for an audio installer position is a GED and like audio experience is preferred, and I can't get a job. So it's like I've had my resume and cover letters checked by professionals and they all say it's great. And I can't get anything. I don't know what the deal is. So to see someone,
you need a little experience.
I mean, I have experience.
That's what I thought. You've been recording.
Well, I mean, I've worked in pretty high profile studios, and I did a commercial construction job basically, and for these installer positions, I mean, you're not even doing anything with audio. You're installing speakers and running wires and stuff. Like
You recorded an intro to Mike Rowe's reality show, right?
Yeah, I was on CNN and I actually had a dream about Mike Rowe last night.
Well, let's get into that one. You gotta.
It was a little too.
No, finish your thought. We'll get into the dream. No. Well, I'll ask about it again. But so
anyway, Rory went to an Ivy League school and can't find a job. She ends up back home with her mom, and it's just like, I know it's fake, but that's what happened to me. And it like kind of just makes me feel better, even that like, a big production like this is acknowledging the fact that even though in the past all of their situations were like the perfect situation, that they're acknowledging like, well, these are the times it's hard. People go to college, they end up back with their parents because they can't find a job. And, I lived with my girlfriend's parents for 2 years and just got really, really down on myself, feeling just totally worthless. I had such big hopes. Like I wasn't going to go to college. I was on tour with a band. My mom told me if I didn't go to college, I would be, she's not calling me a loser, but like you would amount to nothing. And here I am, nothing.
You are not nothing. Let's bring it back just a second to the low expectations conversation we were just having. Is life the ultimate high expectation disappointment,
Right.
Or managing expectations?
Well, that's why I wanted to start the podcast network. If no one else is going to give me an opportunity, I'm going to create my own, because I know that I have the drive. I don't need like constant like outside motivation to get something done. I hate relying on other people to help me with things. So like, I just wanted to do my own thing, and I feel like that might be the only way that I get in opportunities if I create it for myself. And the most successful people have had to make their own success. So
right. I'll say a couple things real quick
Sure.
to that effect. I know I rag on that dude that makes inspirational "go to the island, you control it"
right.
Facebook video dude. Like, everybody lives, but not everybody really dies, or whatever the saying is. But he is right about the fact that you control your own destiny, certainly. So, and there's that often used quote. If you're not happy with what you already have, I don't think you're probably not going to be happy, right? Like if you can't,
Right.
Or I think T.I. says it before one of his hits back when we were in high school. You got to be more thankful for what you do got. Let's get him, baby girl. And he tells Rihanna to sing.
Dude, you're making
Anyway.
so much noise.
Oh, sorry. I had grabbed my little card table here.
Okay.
Anyway, the point is, you control your. You don't have to you're not allowing others to let you down. I guess if you're starting your own thing, and
Right.
no one can take away or affect. What's the name of the network again?
Elemental FM.
That's right. So you've teased a little bit about. How did that idea even start? Was this pre-move? Was the move a part of your decision? This has been 2016 was awful by all other accounts, but for you, it seems like it was a pretty transitional period.
Very, very.
So, like, when did this even start to sneak into your head? Let's move, and podcast network. Let's get after it. Time to make a change.
Sure. Well, back in, I think it might have been like February, I was still working at the wood shop, and I had a lot of things going on. I was in like a really weird place. But I think the biggest issue was that I was feeling really down. I was like putting myself down because I had so many things I needed to do, and I like didn't know where to start. I didn't know how to organize to get things done, and that anxiety just made me do nothing. I had like a bunch of woodworking projects that I was making for some people. I made like a pedal board for a friend in Tennessee. I was making this shelf for action figures for a buddy up in New York City, and I was doing like a lot of things for myself, and I was working full time, and it like I felt like totally not in control of my own life, and I started going to therapy just to try to get a grasp on things. And my the counselor, I ended up just calling her Captain Ass Kicker, because she was almost like in a to quote South Park, an accountability buddy. Nice. I would come in and she'd be like, all right, what's your list of things you want to have done by next week? What's a realistic expectation? What is the order you should do it in? And she would just help me lay things out. And then she would just like let me come in the next week and like kind of brag about all the things I got done. Like it was the most productive I've ever been in my life. And, we also talked about like not being able to find a decent job. So she helped me with like the resume and stuff. And, I was just kind of like, fuck it, man, I'm going to make my own job. I'm going to start editing, podcasts. So I like, started an LLC, Clean Cut Audio. I had, a professional graphic designer do all the images. I built a website. I was on a bunch of freelance websites trying to find work, and I edited a few podcasts, and it wasn't as amazing as I thought it would be. And I started thinking, like, man, I don't want to help someone make their own content. Like, I want to make my own. Like, that's really what I want to do. Like, every day, if something happens, my thought is like, I need to capture that and put it on Instagram, because I think content creator is like the dumbest blanket term, but that's like the way I think. Like when we drove across the country, my thought was this would be more fun for me to get through the long states if I am constantly recording video and I edit together like a 5-minute video. And I did that, and it made it a lot of fun. So I went from wanting to edit other people's stuff to create my own. And I figured I'm not really that, I'm not entertaining enough. So maybe I'll get hosts to do their own shows, and I'll just be like the producer. And that's really long way to tell you how that started.
No, I asked. I was very curious. So what's next? I mean, we've touched a little bit. I mean, this is not like this show's goal isn't to tease the whole network, but it is an interesting topic and part of what we're trying to accomplish, which is you and I venturing through, whatever. But there's a science show. We know there's a Nintendo gaming type probably program. What's next? You're hoping for a launch of a couple programs in the early 2017 spring,
right?
Have you been in touch with those people, or like so now that you're in Colorado, like so you made a change, you wanted to go somewhere, you and Megan decided to. You're there now. You're not in touch with the ass, or what is it, the
what?
Cap kicker?
Oh, no. She actually moved on to do a different job, and so we stopped doing that back around like early summer. And I have noticed my productivity going down, because I work. So I'm actually looking. I'm trying to find a co-founder to do the network with me, because I work a lot better when there's not someone to report to, but someone to like hold me accountable, and almost like someone to. I hate to say it, but I think it's true. Someone to show off to. Be like, yo, look at all the things I've done since the last time we talked. But if it's just me, man, I feel like this is really telling of my personality, and it's weird to admit it. But I feel like if it's just me, there's like no one to really impress, I guess. Like, does that make sense? Does that sound like really weird?
It's a powerful motivator. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It's like in Parks and Rec when who is it? Rob Lowe comes in and he changes the whole organization up, and Ron Swanson has to tell him, he's like, no, Tom can't work in the basement because he doesn't work well if there's no one to impress. And right. I was like, wow, we even have the same name.
That should be the intro to the show or something. Right. Tom doesn't work well if he doesn't have anybody to impress.
So anyway, yeah, like that's where it came in. I didn't want to be the one behind the microphone because I have really bad.
Well, does it come real quick? Does it come back to controlling your own destiny? Like, do you think you could ever get apart from that? I mean, like, you started your own thing to not let anybody else bring you down, but part of that has to entail being able to know you're accomplishing your goals without impressing someone, right?
Right. And
I mean, it sounds like you're on a hell of a mental journey here.
Well, it's,
and literal. You've gone across the country.
Right. The network stuff has been kind of on the back burner for a few weeks because of everything that's been going on.
Well, you need to get a job and like eat and stuff.
Right.
So.
But
when does it kick back? Like when you find that full-time job here, or I mean, because the network's not going to make money for a full year once you launch, probably at least, right?
Well, it's going to be costing me a couple $100 a month just to run the thing. So I definitely need a job. And I think I was much more motivated when I was working full time because I'd be at work for 9 to 10 hours a day, then sitting in my car for an hour thinking about all the things I wanted to do when I got home. So because
of your commute?
Well, yeah, and just the inability to work on it made me want to work on it. But now that I'm home all day, the ability to work on it all day, I'm like, I'm just gonna watch another episode of Gilmore Girls. So I think a time pressure.
A 90-minute episode of Gilmore. Oh, you mean the original?
Right. But right now, I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be done on my end. We're working on the artwork for one of the new shows. Those guys are ready to record like right now, but it's
Who?
for the Ad Astra, the space policy show.
Oh, the space one?
Yeah. They have like
That's cool.
They have like 4 episodes outlined all about like Mars colonization and the one I'm excited about, the transition between presidential cabinets. They're going to talk about like the transition and Trump's policy on space. He's a moon guy, and I know Jack's like really upset about that. It's just like all those weird kind of quirky things. I'm super excited to hear. But there's a lot of things that need done on my end. Like I've been talking to a potential investor about getting a website built out, like custom CMS. And I already have a guy who's willing to do it. We're trying to work out, how much he wants for it, if there's like a trade, if he would be a co-founder type situation, because he's a full stack developer and he loves podcasts. So I feel like, that might be kind of a good relationship. He's an old customer from the coffee shop I used to work at, super nice guy. So we were kind of chatting about that, but that all got put on hold when we were trying to move. So it hasn't been on the front of my mind lately.
Right.
But,
so let's bring it back to 10 minutes ago, because
sure.
we had just cracked something that was kind of interesting to me.
Sure.
The whole is life the ultimate high expectation flop?
Right.
I guess I just wanted to return to that and have you expand on that a little more if you had any thoughts.
I feel
because I guess what was your mindset when we went to academy? Because we were in 8th grade together, and then we went to a charter. Well, it wasn't a charter school at that point; it had become a public school, but you had to apply to get in, kind of if you lived in Erie County,
right?
And it was like, billed as the number 2. I think Philly probably had the number 1 public school in the state, and we were number 2.
Yeah.
In terms of like ability to get you into a 4-year degree program. But to me, that seems like kind of a bad way to advertise to young people, because a lot of people probably would have been better built. Like probably, like if you were to tell someone, I don't know how it's tough to talk to 18-year-olds, but like, hey, you can go do a 2-year. You could go to Central Tech instead and learn how to weld, and you could be $20,000 richer in 4 years, or you could have a sociology degree in 4 years and
not have a job.
Good luck. You know what I mean? Like, with that said, I advocate very heavily I went to Ohio University in Athens, Ohio. It was just Mecca. It was heaven. It was like it was 4 years of utter bliss. But so I'm also kind of a fan of the 4-year college experience. So I guess I'm kind of torn. But I mean, like when you're 18, I guess the expectation is like, at least there's a laid out next step for me to take. And you're just like, I don't have to like, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of working this out as I say it, but managing expectations and like letting 18-year-olds know that they can start working on their craft as a sophomore or something. You know what I mean? If they like to do something, they should focus on it early. And then just, you know what I mean? Because like, I don't know. Like Sam Cray, for example, he's been playing guitar since he first saw one,
Right.
And right now he went and did, I think he went to college, but still the point is he also did this program to get certified to become a music therapist, which is actually an often used hospital technique for, therapy. And he works as a music therapist, and he's been playing shows in the Erie area for, he's just been grinding, doing that since he first saw the thing he knew. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. I apologize for not having a point after rambling for that long, but I don't know. I guess managing expectations and like you control your own stuff more. Like instead of just like eventually I'll go to college and it'll become clear and someone will hand me something, or it's like you can decide what craft. You know what I mean? Like more is up to you than I think we're kind of told. Maybe I don't know.
Well, my college experience was definitely different than yours.
Do you wish you would have got different advice, I guess is my question.
On one hand, I wish I didn't go to college, but I know that the whole course of my life would be different if I didn't. But I do think that getting myself into $100,000 of debt from a shit college was the biggest mistake of my life. I mean, I don't want to like complain about debt because everyone has it, but basically
Right, but I mean, like, should everybody? I don't know.
I don't know.
That's
Man.
a whole nother.
I would definitely be careful because I
had a roommate in Albuquerque who had an interesting idea that was like, to get a house loan, you have to like put a down payment and have a plan for how you're going to pay for that house. And he had an interesting idea to restructure the student loan system to like, you have to go into there as if you're going to buy a house, or you know what I mean, like as if you're applying for a small business loan. Like, well, this is the degree I plan to get, and this is how much I would earn if I make it to my second year, and throughout that plan and the jobs I would, you know what I mean, like to have an actual structured, and they wouldn't just be like, oh, sociology. You know what? Actually, decide after your first year. Here's $40,000. That'll be, not just that by the time you end up paying it all up. And that was kind of interesting to me, like being a little more forgiving to 19-year-olds. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Well, I think the issue is that everyone is just trying to make as much money for themselves. I went to school for audio.
Right, but like you said, starting off so far in the hole without a plan can be almost crippling, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, I have $97,000 of debt. My interest rate is 12.1% over the past 3.5.
Like even a crash course in like loan signing up for, you know what I mean? Like they should tell every senior not to take the easiest. Like, I don't know. There was actually a course at Iroquois in high school that all the seniors used to take that they would tell me it's called consumer math. If they weren't in calculus 2 or going to become a chemist or something, they would all, like, as a joke, sign up for consumer math and learn how to make change if they would become a grocer or something. But to me, it's like, why not make consumer math how not to get totally fucked with the interest on your loans? You know what I mean? Like, because 12's significant, right? 12's sounds awful.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I signed the line for the loan, so I can't blame anyone but myself. But the way that they did it was like...
Except that you kind of can, right?
Well, no, this is
How old were you when you signed it?
This is what happened. My first year, I got federal loans, which are fine. They're like 4 or 5%, which for a federal loan is fine. After the first year, they're like, well, we can't give you any more loans, so you're either going to have to pay out of pocket or you need to drop out. So I thought I had to drop out of school, and at the last minute, they're like, oh, we found this loan, sign here. So I was just so excited to not have to drop out. I signed the loan, not knowing it's at 12%, which I'm thinking 12%, that's not bad, right? But over the past 3.5 years, I've paid $14,000 on my loan, and my balance has gone up $600. Like, that's how bad 12% is.
I just think there's got to be a better way to not to go too, I'm trying to not get political in what I'm about to say.
Do it, man, because I'm ready.
Well, maybe I'll let you say it for me, but I guess there's just got to be a better way. That's all, right? I mean, there are countries that do allow for considerably less expensive / free
everything, right? I mean,
well, yeah, not to mention there are some countries where they believe if you're a citizen of a nation where if you pay taxes, you should be able to be cared for health-wise, right? Like that's a view some countries have. Like that's a right as a citizen. Like if I'm paying taxes, do I want I would like to have these roads paved and I would like to be able to
not
be
die.
Treated for an illness, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it isn't an industry, it's part of what they provide as a taxpayer. And part of it, in some places it's part of that to be able to go educate yourself if that's what you decide to pursue, I guess I'm not an economist, so I don't want to go much further and embarrass myself because I don't, but if viable, that seems like a very interesting. I mean, after hearing your story just now, how can anybody not just at least be curious? Like, well, how possible is it? Universities make a lot of money, right? So
yeah.
It's just an interesting line of thought, perhaps, for all these 20-somethings that are, who were, I guess, hastily signing dotted lines that they soon learn to regret.
Yeah. And
I'm dancing around this pretty awfully, but I'll let, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know we've talked privately more about how we feel. And I know, you as a journalist, you need to stay pretty pretty neutral to everything, right? Isn't that the deal?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean that's fine. That's fine. I can be as open as I want.
Right.
But I think it's a fucking
I guess
embarrassment.
I'm more curious. I'm more curious how people feel. I'd be very interested to gather a group of 10 very different people, in different age groups, different races, different religions, different, generational gaps, and just sit them down and ask somebody from each, just, what do you think? What do you think about this, about the whole paying for college system? Not that that would be the most pressing topic currently, but, just kind of what the pulse is on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, tweet at us, _ reminiscent FM, and we'll get a Slack channel going, and we can all talk about that.
Nice plug.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think, there are definite like horror stories from, call it all the student loans and the fact that even if you claim bankruptcy, they don't go away. If you die, they go after your parents, your family. I mean, it's horrible. It's just, I don't know, man. It's something different can be done, and we're not doing it because.
And again, like you said, you signed, so you can't ignore that fact. But also, could there be? I don't know. I'm just saying, and then this is a whole nother can of worms, but I don't think I'm going too far on a limb. Just, so like in high school, there's, kind of been more of a focus on math and reading and passing certain exams as a way to grade whether or not a school is performing well. And, as a result, a lot of home ec and gym and band and type class, art of the arts are getting slashed and things like that. So, perhaps those home ec consumer strengthening, like, could people are people less rounded than they were coming out? Like,
definitely
shop classes where, I read some article. People just love to just shit on millennials. Like, I bet they couldn't change a car tire or sew a button. It's like, there was no, I guess we sewed pillows, I guess. So maybe we were the last gasp of air before a lot of those, initiatives maybe took hold. But, could we be helping kids more by making them a little more well-rounded before we just kick them, let them, before they enter the real world, I guess?
Well, no, I definitely think you have a point there. People do. I mean, there's a lot of posts from baby boomers shitting on millennials for being undereducated in certain, practical areas, but they took that away from us. And you've heard about the 3 public schools that Erie has. They're trying to like shut them down, right? I mean, they're saying that they don't have money for it. And of course it's the inner city schools, which are, largely minority populations. I think it's all systemic, but I feel like they're trying to shut down schools and then say that we're uneducated and being like, well, whose fault is that? Like, it's ridiculous, man.
Right. Well, it could be something as simple as, and I'll say this first real quick. I haven't lived in PA as an adult yet.
Right.
I left for college. I went to Ohio, so I know very little about the Pennsylvania specific issues, their problems. But, something as simple as you see those, videos on Facebook about how much better school lunches are around the world,
Right.
Something as simple as that is probably pretty telling to other, things going on throughout a school day, how quality of they spend so many hours there. What are they really getting out of that investment of time, perhaps?
Right.
Anyway, I was going to say something. What were we just talking about?
Quality of education.
Right. Oh yeah, boomers, man. Maybe we'll have a boomer episode. I don't want to go on my soapbox because I feel like this episode took an interesting turn.
Got really dark.
But, so there was this boom, right, of children being birthed, right? They came home from war. They were happy to see their wives, the soldiers, and, they created people, right, at a rapid rate. And then there was just a lot more of this one generation than anybody else, right? So I thought I saw some article that was like, naturally, because there's so many of them, by the time they were of an age to consume, they had to have been the most catered to generation of all time. So they never really had to compromise on anything, right? They've been the most catered to generations throughout every stage of their life, right? I mean, to me, it made sense when I read it. Maybe I'm not explaining it very well, but I don't know. They just feel entitled and they just love to generation hate. And it's like, it's just like participation trophies. It's like, are the kids the ones making them and handing them out? You know what I mean? Like, you're the parents, you dumb fucking shits. You know what I mean? Like, what part? Like, it's like Mugatu in Zoolander. It's like, am I taking crazy pills? Like, what the like you are literally the ones creating them, and then look at this dumb. Here's an award. Oh, you suck. Like, I don't know. It's like, this is just so strange. And they're like, oh, millennials don't know anything. It's like, well, what's that other meme that's like, back when my mom was like, I'll give you something to cry about, I didn't think she was going to ruin the housing market. You know what I mean? Like, It's just like, thanks for handing us this mess. Appreciate you. Anyway. It's all just, we really went off the rails on this episode. But it just grinds your gears a little bit, man. And I don't even think we're even millennials. Can we just talk about that for like a second?
I think that we are.
Here's my thing. So Gen Xers, I was talking to a guy at work about this yesterday. He says he's a Gen Xer. He would have become a high school kid in the mid-'80s, right?
Okay.
So he would have been at least in 8th grade by the time Nirvana's Nevermind dropped, and I think it was 92. But we were born in 1990, so I'm arguing our generation is like a very specific gap, and let me explain myself. It's between 88 and 92, that group of people born. We were obviously not old enough yet, or not even born yet, when Nevermind dropped and rocked everyone's shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we couldn't appreciate Cobain for what he was. So we're not Gen X, right? Now, my brother was born in 96, and by the time 2000 hit, he was young enough to, enjoy a Disney Channel program such as Hannah Montana and appreciate Miley Cyrus for what she was when she got to fame. But when we were that old, we were in junior high and too old to appreciate that Disney Channel boom of, the early 2000s, right? So I consider them millennials. Like, there's a gap between when Nirvana's Nevermind dropped and when Miley Cyrus rose to fame.
What went wrong, man?
That's that's another episode there. Well, no, she's a good pop star. I like a few of her songs.
I actually really like that show. I'm not going to lie to you. I watched it a lot.
The older brother was like 32, but he was, he made me laugh. That show was pretty Raven. Anyway, as opposed to being not Raven. I guess what I'm trying to say is people just... It's weird. People older than us have been calling themselves millennials at work lately, and it's just like, is it still funny? I don't know. Maybe this because I'm a Browns fan. I take repeated jokes so hard. It's like, really? We're still laughing? Like, it's like, you're just going to keep, all right. You know what I mean? Like, apparently it's not an old trope yet. But I consider my brother, who was born in 96, in a very much of that millennial, grew up with smartphones existing type situation as a millennial. And I consider us Gen Y, I guess, post-X, kind of dead zone of the early 90s. But I just feel like people are so quick to just flap their gums. And I was talking to the guy at work yesterday, and I was talking to him about how I liked Weezer's Blue album because I had cousins who gave me, and he was describing, there's this funny joke. Sorry, I'm trying to cram this down your throat. But there was this joke about the Rage Against the Machine, the band, that my friend was like, it was the Clinton years. Why were they so upset? You know what I mean? And then so he was trying to, he was like, well, that's why people look at Gen X in a certain way and grunge in a certain way. And then someone who was older from across the newsroom was like, oh my God, are you trying to explain grunge to a millennial? And she just BuzzFeed headlined it so fast.
Oh my God.
That's what pissed me off the most, is because he and I were actually having a constructive intergenerational conversation about how we view the world. And then it just got BuzzFeed headlined by someone who wasn't even paying attention. And that's how the whole newsroom viewed what was being talked about.
Wow.
I don't know. It just obviously upsets me a little bit. Like, just every senior class thinks they pulled the best pranks. Every generation thinks they're the best. It's just like, don't talk about stuff you don't know. Have some perspective. Read a fucking book. Brush your motherfucking teeth. Like that one. My favorite public service announcement of all time that aired on BET. Read a motherfucking book. look it up on YouTube. It's utterly fantastic.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
Dude, I have a good story about us in that that video though.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to kind of derail this?
Yeah, we've probably I've been really soapboxing too much, and I apologize. But yes, let's get back to the goofies.
All right. So when I was young,
can I say I'm sorry? Can I say I'm sorry for flapping my gums?
Oh no,
too much?
it was I feel like I talked an awful lot this episode. So
I just hate that you had to panically sign that dotted line. It just feels criminal almost.
No, it's awful, man. It's they want like $1,100 a month from me.
And just like there was nothing before that was just like, hey, look out. You know what I mean? Like for how much money's at stake there should be a class in high school. Anyway, this cartoon is it called Read a Motherfucking Book?
I think it's just like read a book.
Yeah, okay. But those are the lyrics maybe. Okay.
Yeah. Put in the show notes. It's it's like it's a hip hop song, or maybe it's just like rap. I don't know.
Well, it was composed by Lil Jon. I don't know if the East Side Boys were involved, but he was involved with the project, and it was an animated public service announcement that aired on BET.
And it was like a rap song about positive things that you should be doing, and
right. But it was very crass to kind of appeal maybe to the target audience. I don't know, like to a teen who might think swearing is funny enough to pay it. It was a 3-minute. It was like a real music video to a song.
But I remember watching that in. Well, backstory. So I dated this girl way longer than I should have, from like ages 12 to 17.
She's the one who was watching Gilmore Girls.
Yeah. So she was super Christian. And like her mom told us we weren't allowed to watch Friends because they said ass in an episode. Like that's how intense it was. But we were watching this read a book video, which is just, for like a young.
Oh, you watched it with her?
No, you were there too. Like we both watched it.
Oh.
And
I showed everybody I could when I first saw it.
So I remember you were at my house. You drove. I didn't have a car, but she had a car. So she watched the video. She was so offended. She drove home and told me that she didn't like you because you recommended that video, and she felt like she didn't even know me anymore because I laughed at the video. And I remember that you had to drive me to her house to try to like apologize for. I was like, I didn't even like the video. I was just laughing because he was, and I didn't want to seem like a nerd. Oh, dude, it was just. But I loved it.
Which that hurts me because that video's hilarious.
The video's great. I watched it like just a couple months ago.
It's a classic. Yeah. I guess for the listeners, like, it's Lil Jon, cartoon Lil Jon, and it's like, read a book, read a motherfucking book, brush your teeth, brush your goddamn teeth. It's like, what is it like? Buy some land, spinning rims, raise your kids, raise your goddamn kids.
But the hook is READABO, okay.
Yeah. It's I love the song. The animation is hilarious, and it is like sounded, I was like, yeah, I will buy land. I won't buy spinning rims. I will buy land, and I'll brush my teeth every day. And it was just, even now, when I go to the dentist, I'm like, wow, the brush your teeth part of that song is actually pretty super, day-to-day wise, important.
No, it's great. To relate that to something in the show notes, I had something written down about routines and.
Oh, yeah.
So since I haven't worked in almost 2 months now. I mean, I was on a paid vacation for a week.
Well, we touched on that on an early episode. You had been working since the age of like 14.
Right.
Full time.
Right.
This is all new to you.
So it's all new. And I've noticed that without the normal routine of waking up, taking a shower, brushing your teeth, going to work, whatever, dude, I've been showering like every 5 or 6 days. I just forget to, because I don't leave the house. I'm not going anywhere. I need it, dude.
If I start to feel real grimy, I need that daily shower.
I mean, I usually, like, if I'm working and if I'm gonna leave the house, I'll shower before I go. But like all of a sudden be like, dude, what stinks? Oh my God, it's me. How long has it been since I showered? Like it's out of control.
See, that's my fear every time. Like if I ever were to realize it was me, I would cry, I think. Like every bad smell I've ever smelled since the age of puberty, I've been like, oh God, if that's me, no one's going to hold my hand.
Is that me?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that me?
Well, one day before school, the lake flipped in some weird geological thing, and it brought up all the algae that was or something, and the whole city smelled for like a day.
Oh my God.
And before I spread the headline on the news or people talked about it at school, I smelled my own pits. I was like, is that me that smells like a lake that flipped? Like, is the odor being released by upcurrents my body? Anyway, highly self-conscious. Highly.
No, I feel you, man. But yeah, it's been really weird without a routine. I'm the kind of person that, I have plugs or what they would call gauges in my ears. And I have a certain order I do things in the morning, and not intentionally. It's just like what happens. Like I'm not like OCD about that stuff. But if I skip a step, I'll forget to put my plugs in my ears, and then I'll end up walking around with just big holes in my ears. And like, I just really need routine in order to do everything properly. And it's been super bizarre without that. I hate it.
I'm sorry to hear it.
But I start work tomorrow. I'm going to be working 6 days a week. So
if you hear some noise on the recording in this part of the show, those are the aforementioned neighbors in past episodes.
I can hear it.
Yeah, can you?
I can.
It's pretty good, right? That's a pretty good rattle.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm having issues here. So.
Like they've made a point to let me know that steps are being taken. Like takes me 4 to get to the kitchen. All right, let's write it down.
Yeah, I mean, I can hear my upstairs neighbors like nose whistling if he's a little congested.
Ooh.
It's so loud here.
You should leave some vitamin C powdery mix on his door.
Well, I'm determined to never.
Or a neti pot.
I'm determined to never see this person's face. Like I want anonymity. I don't want to know.
That is an interesting goal to have.
Yeah. Like I don't mind knowing people in the community, but I don't want to know the person whose sound I can hear all day, and I don't want them to know me, because then I just feel like
it's too
awkward.
personal.
Yeah, like then I feel like I should like keep it down. Like I'm not loud, but I feel like if I know this person and I like respect them, I'll try to live a certain way. But I'd rather just have them not respect me, be loud when they're loud, so that I can do the same. You know what I mean? Like, but I did hear Sugar were going down playing from upstairs, and I started thinking maybe I should get to know this person.
They might be my favorite.
So I don't know what kind of friendship I'm missing out on, but I'm trying to keep it private.
If they can appreciate the chicka, then it's there at least worth saying hi to, maybe.
As soon as the song ended, I started blasting it from downstairs so they can know that I appreciated it at least.
Like a weird early 2000s pop punk Morse code.
Chicka chicka. Oh man.
I wish to be the friction in your jeans, Tom.
Ooh,
always know that.
Sexual.
Is it? Yeah, it is. It's pretty directly sexual, actually. I love, when YouTube was first coming and getting big, obviously the BET infomercial, or a PSA we just mentioned, was fun. But the stick figure music videos, which are kind of like, now how there's those... Yeah. Right now there's a line of videos called Honest Trailers. This was kind of like that, a tongue-in-cheek look back at what it was. Anyway, the stick figure music video to Sugar You're Going Down was really something special. Like, they would interpret how it actually sounded, what he was saying. Like,
I'm just the nuts on your bedpost.
Da da in a lulilura, and then it would just, every once in a while there would just be a question mark on the screen. Like, I don't know what he's saying, actually.
I was telling Megan about that yesterday, because I do think about it every time I hear that song. It was so funny. The interpretation videos.
Well, at the end when he's like, da da, it's just a baby like, da da.
One of my favorites was Waking the Cadaver, that like death metal, like black metal band that it's just like, and
were they like pre or post Whitechapel?
Same time, maybe.
Okay. That was a weird 6-month period where like pig squeals and women screaming, like in songs, was big. I didn't quite understand that.
I actually, in Virginia, I was running soundboard at this venue, and the guy running soundboard was actually the original guitarist from Whitechapel.
Nice.
Super nice guy. But there was this band, and the song was about murdering women, which is no good, obviously.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
But I listened to this song for years because the interpretation video was just like, it said like, it kept saying like shredded wheat and like, don't touch my rice. I like to color with paint, like on Microsoft Paint. And it was just super funny. So I was listening to this song and I remember I was in Mr. Bischoff's class, senior year of high school. And I was like, oh, let's look up the actual lyrics to this song. And I was like, well, I can't ever listen to this song again. Like it's about like, dismembering people and
so you had heard the riff first, or you had seen the fake version first.
Right. And it's hilarious, but just the real lyrics, like I'm okay with
pretty
some
dark
gore, but it made me very uncomfortable.
Like blurring the line between art and like you should seek professional help.
Yeah.
Although real quick, I don't want to poke fun at that because what you said earlier about, talking to somebody. Sure. I had a boss once who had a theory that everybody should try it at least once, and I kind of like that. I just like her approach to it. Why not? Get a perspective on it.
I was really resistant to going because when I was younger, I went to a counselor because of it actually started out when I developed Tourette's syndrome. It was pretty bad when I was a kid.
I did not know you had that.
Really?
It must have been a mild case.
If you knew me in 5th grade, you would know. I mean, it was bad.
Like a head jerk,
and I would do this like snorting thing and like violently shake my head.
Wow.
Yeah, and like people didn't know why I was doing it. I didn't really know why either. So I went to counseling.
It was purely involuntary?
Yeah. I mean, I still do it. It's just super minor. Like I blink my eyes and I still do the snort, but it's more of a.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I thought you were just like clearing your head or something every once. Maybe I'm editorializing in my head and making this up, but now that you mention it, like I thought you were just like saying, all right, man, let's do it. Like your head would go to the right or something, be like, all right, man.
No, I don't do the head thing anymore. That went away.
Okay. Yeah. Then I'm making this up. Right. I'm just trying to picture every time you've moved your head and placed this.
Right. But I do a little like thing, and it's usually even quieter than that. But the eye blinking is when I get super stressed out. And actually, so when I get really stressed out, my eyes get sore because I'll be blinking my eyes like really hard. And since I moved out of Megan's parents' house, I haven't noticed it. Like I totally forgot that I even had Tourette's until I was on my way to UPS for orientation yesterday. Since then, it's been really bad, which I think is like, man, I don't want to start that again. It was nice to forget that I had it for the first time. I just wasn't doing it.
You're a little nervous to get back in the workforce?
I'm not nervous. I just don't want to. Dude, not working for so long has been amazing. I mean, it's it's been great. I mean,
yeah, I can imagine.
We were working super hard before we left, so I never saw my girlfriend. So it's just been nice to have some time with her and like hang out. So I mean, I don't want to work. But you have to, and when I do work,
the new adventure
hard,
continues,
so.
man.
Yeah. So,
you have taken life by the horns, and you're doing something.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You would make that Facebook video guy proud. He'd be like Denver Real Original. Be like, come on, man, cut me some slack here. Like, I hate you. Like I told you to move to an island. Like, I prefer the mountains.
Mountains are pretty sweet, man. It still like takes my breath away every time I drive by. Gorgeous.
All right, before we wrap this up and get to our music thing, I have to ask, why did you write Sports Guy Important with exclamation points in bold in the show notes? So again, Sports Guy Important, and the important is in all caps.
So yesterday, Megan and I haven't really been treating ourselves at all, because we don't have the money.
Right.
But we didn't have any food, and I was kind of, I'm not excited about working, but I'm excited about having a job again, if that makes any sense. So we were just like, okay, let's go out to dinner and let's get, some food. So we're sitting there, we're waiting for our table, and there's a picture of a chef next to a very tall guy. And Megan was like, who do you think that guy is in the picture? And I was like, I think it's John Elway. And I Googled it, and it was John Elway.
Broncos country, baby.
Well, first of all, I didn't know that he was a Bronco, but I thought you'd be impressed that I looked at a picture of a random white guy, and I knew it was John Elway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
He was a Browns killer in the 80s, though. So the Browns were they were called the Cardiac Kids, and Bernie Kosar was their quarterback, or it might have been Sipe for one of them. Anyway, they would make it to the, so it's AFC versus NFC. There's like 2 leagues, and they face off for the Super Bowl. Does that make sense?
Sorry, what?
Okay. Anyway, one of the last games of the season before the Super Bowl, the Browns would make it to as high as they could go before getting to the Super Bowl, and Elway would always beat them in dramatic fashion. And it was
okay.
Yeah, in the 80s, the Cavs and the Browns were competitive, and Michael Jordan and Elway rose to fame by crushing Cleveland Spirit.
Good for them.
So I don't have a lot of starry-eyed nostalgia for those Broncos teams myself. Not that I was born or alive to see the heartbreak, but yeah. John Elway.
Right.
Or, Norm Macdonald did an ESPYs once, which is kind of the award show ESPN does. And, he has pretty big teeth. And he just looks at Elway. He's like, yay, John, why the long face? It's just so brutally hilarious to me. Anyway. But yes, no, I'm impressed. He's a sports guy, and you nailed it.
You know that I don't much care about sports and all that, but I do love Peyton Manning, mainly just because he's hilarious. But I had a dream about a year ago. I dream about famous people randomly.
Wait, what was this dream that you had? You mentioned earlier.
I'll get back to that real quick.
Mike Rowe.
I want to tell you about. It was almost like the driveway set of that '70s show that I was in.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the roof of this truck, and Eli Manning is there, and he goes, "Dude, you got to buy a dash cam." And I was like. And I was like, okay. And I tried to make like a football joke to him, and he just like totally like scoffed me off. I was like, oh, I thought we were friends. But anyway, I woke up and I was still kind of groggy, and I bought a dash cam off of Amazon. So there's a dash cam in my car now.
like in police cruisers to like to hold them accountable?
Yeah.
Oh God. Is that all the dialogue there was between you and Eli?
Yep.
That's fucking amazing. That is the best. That's better than the Clinton dream. Bro, I know we're outside of Red's house and Eric Form is coming soon, but I have to tell you this one line first. Gotta buy a dash cam.
But I did, man. I woke up. It was the first thing I did. Wasn't even awake yet, and I have a...
Megan walks home. Hey, Tom, why'd you buy a dash cam?
Eli
Manning came to me in a dream. He commanded it be so.
Yeah. I'm having issues. The little suction cup won't stay on the window, so it keeps falling off. So,
is there any real practical use? I have to ask.
Yes. I think it's just like in case an accident happens, you can prove that if you weren't the cause. But Megan actually had a hit.
Oh, so you're always recording?
Yeah, everything. And another thing, like if the car gets shaken, it'll start recording. And I wish Megan had that when some dude smashed her car and ripped off the bumper and then drove away. It would have started recording and caught their license plate.
Okay.
She doesn't have
I
one.
get it.
So yeah, things like that, It was only like $30, so I bought it.
And plus, if Eli Manning comes to you in a dream, you don't just ignore.
You do it.
Although you ignored the secretary, so I just don't. It's like I don't even know you anymore.
Also, kind of
I was only laughing because he was laughing.
Also, my thought was that, in Russia, they have really bad insurance fraud problems, so everyone has dash cams, and they caught that meteor in Chelyabinsk or whatever.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of footage of that thing.
Yeah. So if there's ever a meteor...
Oh, you're on it, dude. And you can call Eli and be like, bruh, I got you, dog. Bruh.
I'll submit it to the news channel under your name. Thank you, Eli.
Oh, under Eli's name. I thought you meant mine. I'm like, I wasn't in your dream. Oh. Credit where credit's due, man.
John.
Do you want to... I'm a little excited for this week's musical recommendations. Because I listened... Are you ready for this stage of the thing?
I am, but I have to tell you, it hasn't been... I didn't really expect to record today until last night, so I don't really have anything prepared. Sorry, my dog's going crazy in the other room. The neighbor's stomping around, and my dog's not having it.
Oh, that's Levi. Okay. Well, Levi.
He's freaking out.
Hashtag Levi Sweetie Pie is how you can find that beautiful beast on Instagram.
Yep. He's a good dude.
Yeah, solid. I'll have to meet him someday. So maybe you can brainstorm real quick about what you might want, and I'll kind of talk about what you recommended, and then and things like that.
Sure.
Or and then you can talk about. So you recommended to me Jurassic 5's What's Golden?
Yes, sir.
And Black Alicious
Paragraph President,
which I had only been really familiar with the aerobics, the alphabet aerobics by Black Alicious previous to last week. But obviously classics. I guess I don't really have much to say other than, yep, those were dope. Those were early hip-hop good stuff, right? Not early hip-hop, but just, I enjoyed them. I enjoyed a trip down. Well, it's interesting seeing a group of rappers in What's Golden kind of like take their turns getting verses. It felt, I don't know what I'm talking about. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Good. I mean, that's the kind of hip hop that I like.
Well, I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to try for a second. Like, so NWA, right? Like, there was a group, and you play a beat, and then everyone takes their turn providing their verse, right?
Right.
Anyway, you know what really? So actually, this is what I thought. The What's Golden music video reminded me of like this weird bridge between how NWA happened and then years later Black Eyed Peas happened. It was like this weird middle ground, and that's not a slight on What's Golden or that band, Jurassic 5. It just kind of, I could see how it happened. Does that make any sense? Like a group of people each taking their turns throughout the song, but theirs was not popular necessarily. It was still hip hop, but
right.
From talking about violence and police and social issues to something a little lighter, I could see the progression kind of unfold a little bit, maybe.
Sure. I mean, there's, yeah.
I heard the Black Eyed Peas on the radio the other day, and I was like, I just forgot about that like chapter in culture. And they did a Super Bowl, right?
I think so.
Or they were at least the theme song to an NBA Finals one of the years. Anyway, I was just like, oh yeah, them.
Megan and I feel like I just constantly live in the state of 8th grade, and people might not understand why. I went to Catholic.
It was a good
school.
year for you.
Well, yeah. I mean, I went to Catholic school from basically preschool until 7th grade, and I was told that because the back of my hair touched my collar, I was going to hell, and that I wasn't welcome at school next year unless I cut my hair.
And then you told them.
I called the Sister Colette, the principal, and never went back.
No, you had a great line. You said Jesus had long hair, and then you stormed out, right?
Yeah. No, I've
always loved you.
I do remember that. Yeah, I did that at lunch. That wasn't. Yeah, I mean, they were constantly on me about the hair, so it happened more than once. But I do remember yelling that in the cafeteria.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
But yeah, I went to public school for 8th grade, and I went from a classroom of like 14 kids to like a class of
80 to 100.
80 to 100, and it was just the kids at that school introduced me to like ska and like good music, and it was just, dude, it was like a party. I could not wait for the weekend to be over to go back to school. Like, it was so much fun. So that was a good class. We had the 8th grade track meet that year. Oh, and man. Yeah.
That was when, I don't know, that was back when techno was kind of like
oh my God,
mainstream popular for a second.
Yeah.
So at the dances, everyone would be like, it would start with the usual pop hits or whatever anyway. And then by the end, everyone, it would be either a ska or a techno kind of jumping around fun fest.
Yeah.
So, the all night dances and the track meets and the dance offs with the teachers. And it was a lot of fun. It was a good group. And what's interesting about having a class of 80 to 100 that knows each other for like a decade, everyone knows kind of, there was a good groove going for sure.
Yeah. And, yeah, it was fun. I mean, we go over to Steve's house and have like techno dance parties and watch Fight Club and play soccer in the street. I mean, it was just, I don't know. And also, my mom was married to this guy, and he was awful, and they divorced, or separated, going into that. So it was also like the first time that he wasn't around, and I was like, everything was just good, man.
This would have been the Westerville House era.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it was a good year. So if I like keep talking about 8th grade And like, dude, why can't this guy get over 8th grade? It was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. When I was leaving OU, everyone like loves it so much there when they go. It's just hard to explain when people are like, yeah, my college is the best. I was like, well, maybe. You didn't go to OU, so I'm not sure you know how good it can be. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know how to explain it. Anyway, I won't get into it this episode, but after you're done, there's like this weird like, oh, was that it? Was that the honeymoon phase of my life? And so graduates kind of have to come to terms with like, yes, 8th grade was a good year, and yes, OU was a fantastic stretch, but that can happen again. You just got right? I mean, like you're taking life by the horns now. You'll probably join an intramural soccer or join a soccer league or something. An indoor soccer league, and a new friend base will come up over the course of the next 2 to 3 years, and even in Albuquerque, like I can look back fondly on a good 18-month stretch of bar hopping with some people my age who were there to get their job experience and move on. But while we were there, we enjoyed the weather and the food, and
right.
There are other phases to enjoy. It's not over. I guess that was when you graduate. You would ask grads like, "How's adulthood?" They're like, "Well, obviously it's not as good as OU, but I mean like." Everyone's just trying their hardest, and you'll find yours. You know what I mean? You just go find something, and try to enjoy the moment as much as possible.
Yeah. But
it is tough though when you're getting out of like when you're in the good old days before it ends, and you're aware of it. It's almost this weird like Truman Show thing. Like, oh God, like this is so good. But like anyway. Mm-hmm. But 8th grade was good. But I think I have a feeling you're on the cusp of good stuff. A new chapter, if you will.
I hope so, because I've told.
I mean, you're not in Virginia anymore, right, and that's
good.
Nice.
I've told Megan before. I've you're worried about college being like the best years, dude. I'm worried about 8th grade being the best years. That's sad.
Well,
man.
8th grade was still. It's not sad. That's not sad, dude. Nothing's sad. I feel like everyone's. We talked about social anxiety a little bit last episode, but I don't know, man. I think that's rad. I mean, like you had a year that was. Everyone's going to have a year that was better than the others in their own head. You know what I mean? I don't know, that's not sad. Just. I hope you're aware that there's going to be more good. There's going to be a second and third place, or maybe even a first place in the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it feels like to father a child. You know what I mean? Not that that's on the horizon, but like I don't know. There's a bunch of shit I'm not even aware. Like emotions I haven't even tapped into yet. So I think it's hard sometimes to want to stay excited, but I don't know. So I think it's not sad at all. I think it's great. 8th grade was a rad year.
Yeah, for sure.
And Mr. D ripped his pants on that dance off. Let it be known. I saw John Lawson the other day.
Are you serious?
He's doing good. He's doing real good, and it was nice to see him. He was real nice. I was with Kevin and Mark back in Erie for a little bit. He looked healthy, and he's working. I guess he had given my parents a few free drinks or free meals when they went to dinner downtown one night. He was bartending or something. But he started like making some clothes for a clothing line, I guess, that he's been.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like going to a lot of music festivals, and like he's getting into that scene and like trying to. He was very there's kind of an entrepreneurial spirit there that was very. It was just awesome. Awesome to see him. He's a very funny, very good guy. So.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, he was from that 8th grade era. He was part of that dance off with Mr. The teacher dance off. I mean, Mr. D had like a Middle Ages sword that he took off his wall during his performance.
And swung it around.
Had anybody of power in the district walked into the room at that time, and he would have been just swinging a sword around with a room full of children, with part of his pants ripped. They would have been like, this feels wrong, but it wasn't. It was so right.
Well, he did that. There were 2 dance-offs. You and John won the first one, and then he wanted to rematch. And you had said if he brings in the sword, he would win by default. But not only did he bring in the sword, he did that thing where he runs and slides on his knees.
Yeah,
and he busted his pants.
And it did not go well, yeah.
And we all told him, Mr. D, you ripped your pants. And he didn't believe us until hours later when he realized he's been teaching classes with his pants ripped, and he took his lunch break to go to Walmart to buy a new pair of pants.
Nice.
Yeah, that was great. It was good stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a good year. You shouldn't feel lame about that, dude. It was a dope year.
Okay, good.
And then high school was good, right?
I had a really rough time in high school.
Yeah, but what? No. Do you want to do that next episode? You want to cover high school next episode? Maybe if we get around to it.
I don't know.
Because I feel like we're slowly kind of figuring out, we're like tracing what prompted what line of thought as we're navigating this 20s part. But
Sure.
what the flashbacks and what mean, Anyway, maybe we'll get to it some other time. We don't have to go through high school. Anyway,
John.
Back to the music thing as we start to wrap this thing up. Sorry, you caught me. James McCallion, one of the techno soccer dudes from 8th grade, he is in Columbus, Ohio now. I should really go down to see him.
Oh, wow. Yeah, totally.
I'm kind of balling on a budget right now, so I don't think I have the gas money like this today to do it. Otherwise, you know what I mean? But he, good guy. I should catch up with him. Anywho, so you had given me Black Alicious and Jurassic 5. Obviously, very good hip hop there. And then, yes, I gave you Miguel / the cover of his song Waves with Casey Musgraves. Did you like it?
It was okay.
Okay. Very sexual.
Yeah, I mean, I just, I don't know. I don't want to say this every episode, but I'm not enjoying music the way I used to. It's harder for me to get into something. But it just, it was good, but it didn't grip me, it didn't.
Sure. I found that all the songs I've ever liked in my life, I've tried to get on the iPod at parties and be like, yeah, I love this song. And nobody is vibing with me ever. So if this is a theme, don't feel bad. I have, things I think are really, really good. People tend to just not really give a care, I guess. So I think was gonna say give a care to silence or censor myself. But
I think what I'm realizing is the songs that you've been suggesting are just nice songs. They're just, it's just it's a nice song, but it's I usually look for stuff with intensity that makes me feel some huge emotional swing, and that's just not.
And Platinum Girls didn't do that? Okay, let me see if I can think of a better one.
I couldn't get past the bad vocals.
Yeah. Okay, and we already talked about that. We already had that debate.
Yeah.
Let me think then. Let me think. Well, let me ask this: Should we not do this segment anymore? Because I think we're already seeing a pattern. Or should we give it another chance?
No, I like it because I think there's definitely some good stuff to come out of it. I need to listen to new things. I mean, whether I love the songs or not, I need to be listening to new things.
Well, then I'm going to stay on the pattern I was on. With what you just said, maybe you want to switch because I like this artist I wanted to tell you I liked, but I have a feeling next week you're just going to say it was a nice song, but it wasn't pop punk, so you can go kick rocks.
It's not just a pop punk thing.
I know. But there's no, I mean, it's a, I'll just say it. I'll just come out and say it.
Sure.
They're called the Bellfuries, and it was a 2015 album called The Working Man's Bellfuries, and it is, I don't want to say anything about it because like we said about expectations before, I'm just going to give you the artist. I don't want to describe it now. I want to talk about it next week. So go to that album on Apple Music or whatever you have. The first 4 songs are very good, but the 2 I would focus on, Bad Seed, Sewn, and Why Do You Haunt Me? And I'd really want to say more, but I shouldn't. I want you to just listen.
All right.
And, I don't think the whole album's not that great. The first 4 songs, very strong, I feel.
Okay.
Anyway, the Bellfuries. Very, give them a spin. I have a feeling you're going to say that was a nice song. Anyway, I'll try to come up with something a little harder for next week, but I didn't have time to think about that this week.
So here's the issue that I'm having with this segment. I'm wondering whether the songs I'm recommending should be songs that I'm seriously into at the moment or songs that I think you would enjoy.
Let's go with songs that you've vibed with in the last year. What are you listening to? There's a podcast with Michael Ian Black. I forget what it's called.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, what's it called? Do you know?
No.
I find him hilarious.
Yeah.
In The State and that improv and Wet Hot American Summer and all
that.
Yeah. Anywho, totally. I might be incorrect by calling it The State, whatever their improv group was. Anyway, at the end of each segment, they ask, or at each episode, whether it's movies, books, music, what's getting you off right now? What are you into? What are you really digging? So I guess I would almost want a version of that what have you vibed with most recently? And we'll have to go back in time a little bit because we're not going to be loving a new album every week. But do you agree with that kind of direction?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So this was
So-
like maybe 4 months ago. Was Bellfuries was like I was really getting into it,
Okay.
and it was brought to my attention by my old roommate Clark. Good guy, great guy. He owns a cast iron pan and a very sturdy set of boots, and he's a geologist kind of vibe. So
Okay.
Anyway, he used to play this thing called Stoner Doom while he was making breakfast, and I would always sleep in later than him. And it's just like, think of like metal slowed down on a record player to like a lower setting, but that's how slow it was. Just like I don't know, it was awful. But this is not that. Anyway, Clark had a very interesting set of musical tastes.
Okay.
This is one of them. This is the one I adored.
All right. Well, if I'm going to tell you, I've been in a weird music mood lately. The thing that I've been listening to on repeat, which isn't my recommendation because everyone knows the song. It's been No Diggity by Blackstreet.
Ooh, okay.
But my recommendation, my favorite hip hop group of all time, the Pharcyde. It's spelled Pharcyde. It's a little weird. The opening and closing song on their album, Bizarre Ride to the Pharcyde, one of the most expensive records I've ever bought on vinyl. I got an original pressing from 1991 that was impossible to track down. But the opening song, I hate to be the butt of a Louis C.K. joke, but it's called I'm the Type of N-Word. And it's just, I can't sing the song because it's just the N-word, the whole song, but it's so catchy. And the beat is great. There's like 5 verses. Each guy has their own verse. And it's so much fun. The bass is like out of control. And then the closing song of the album is called Ya Mama. It's like 4 or 5 verses of Yo Mama jokes. And it's hilarious. So I finally got my record player set up. It's an old Genesis from the early 70s. Got it hooked up to the stereo. I might.
Mine is so naturally loud. I need speakers because the minimum volume is too loud for like my thin-walled apartments.
It's a Crosley, right?
I don't know.
But anyway,
it was a gift. I don't know.
I've been in a hip hop mood lately, so I'm gonna recommend
there you go.
that. They're my favorite.
Well, you know
group.
what? I don't want the audience to think I just want to get on here every week and rag on the fact that you enjoy pop punk, because I enjoy it too. But we can't sit here and be like every week talk about how much the Upsides by the Wonder Years changed us. You know what I mean? Like
I could.
Well, maybe we should next week. Because that's something I've been digging recently too, but I know you already love it, so I can't. You know what I mean? Like, know that my recommendations aren't intentionally like cross-genred or anything. I'm just trying to come up with stuff that we both don't already like a lot.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like there was a new Sum 41 album. I just haven't listened to it yet. Maybe we should.
neither.
Maybe we should. Well, maybe we should assign that. Maybe. Well, we've already given recommendations for this week, but let's lock in Sum 41 album at some point to try to, as in like a homework maybe situation.
Definitely.
Instead of just trying to out like, you know what I mean? Like, anyway, I'm having fun doing it. So
Yeah, cool. Me too, man.
So Pharcyde, what's the name of the record?
Bizarre Ride to the
Bizarre
Pharcyde.
Ride to the Pharcyde. Okay, and I gave you the Bellfuries.
Yeah.
The Working Man's Bellfuries. Okay. Well, this has been episode 5.
It's been fun. I can't believe we've done 5 already, actually.
The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, yeah. Just like the 5th Jurassic Park movie. This is the best one.
Just to be clear, because I know so little, there aren't 5. There's like, the newest one would have been the 4th.
You know, I don't know. But as you're saying
Yeah,
this,
me neither. I have no idea.
As you're saying this, I'm really interested in how many Land Before Time movies there are, because I think there's like 13.
13.
17. Land Before Time movies. And we'll close it out on that.
Motherfucking tree stars, bitch.
That's like my favorite meme ever.
All right, I'll catch you next week, buddy.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later. Love ya.
Ba 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 ba.